Waduh, 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 waduh. Weh.
Hey guys, I'm very excited to share with you how I built this legendary F-14 Tomcat. Inspired by the Flight Test Master Series F-14. The plans for this model were designed using Blender, Pepakura Designer, and Inkscape. First, I modeled the F-14 in 3D using Blender. Since I plan to use 6mm Depron foam, I used a special technique in 3D software to create the model. Then, I used Pepakura Designer to unfold each part from 3D shape and convert it into a flat 2D pattern. Finally, I used Inkscape to lay out the final plans for cutting out the foam pieces. The swing wing mechanism was definitely the most challenging part of the build. Another decision I had to make was whether to use full flying elevator or a split elevator. In the end, I went with a split or partial elevator for two reasons. First, it's much easier to set up. Second, it provides a less sensitive response during flight, which is what I was looking for. Here, my friend Roy is taking the time to smooth out the leading edge of the horizontal stabilizers, as well as the elevator itself. He's using the same technique for both. As you can see, he's thinning the elevator's trailing edge with hobby knife and sandpaper. Finally, both horizontal stabilizers and the elevator are being covered with white packing tape. He's using a makeshift iron to help smooth out the tape application. And for the elevator hinges, he's chosen mica plastic. I opted not to include a rudder. However, if you are interested in performing knife edge maneuvers, a rudder is definitely recommended. Since I wasn't planning on those maneuvers, I left it out. As you all know, the F-14 Tomcat's most iconic feature is its variable sweep wings. These wings swing out for takeoff and low-speed flight, then sweep back into delta configuration for high-speed performance. This is my take on the swing wing mechanism. While I think it might be a bit over-engineered for the first attempt, it's still functional and offers room for improvement. The main material here is 3mm plywood with a 1-inch PVC pipe, serving as the central shaft. Let's start with the wing constructions. It's fairly straightforward, but it does incorporate a hinge at the wing root. This rod should ideally be made from 8mm carbon fiber tube, not a bamboo rod like the one Roy attached here. The carbon fiber will provide much better rigidity for the wing. Once all the spars are installed, Roy closes the wing by attaching the top piece. Here Roy repeat this process for the other wing. Now Roy is starting to build the base for the swing wing mechanism by assembling all the individual parts. Once the base is complete, he'll install it onto the fuselage of the plane. Then he adds a layer of mica plastic on top of the foam. This will protect the foam from being damaged by the rod that will slide on top of it during the wing sweep. This is the push rod that will be used to move the wings during flight. Take a look here, the two servos for moving the wings are actually in different orientations. Before Roy installs the wing, he covers it with packing tape first. This helps to protect the foam and provide a smoother surface. Next, he cuts the ailerons and installs the servos. He is also adding some grease to the shaft for smoother operation. Now it's time to put the wing in place. After carefully adjusting the wing's alignment, he'll secure the hinge with plywood parts. We've encountered a bit of snag here. Servo I ordered was supposed to have 180-degree movement range, but the one I received only has about 120 degrees. To compensate for this, Roy will need to extend the servo arm slightly. All cables from the back of the plane are routed through this hole to the nose, where they will connect to the receiver. It also appears that the right wing servo might be a little weak. We'll need to address that before the first flight. and then I told Roy to continue building the aircraft. The complete plans for this build are available for download on my website. You'll find the link in the video descriptions below. The plans come in both A4 and A0 sizes. In this case, I used the A4 plans printed on a standard home printer with regular A4 paper. Once Roy had the plans printed out, he glued them onto 6mm Depron foam and then carefully cut out each piece following the lines. Now he's starting to build the nose section. The first step is to assemble the former parts. These are the internal pieces that will provide structure and shape to the nose. Next, he bends the foam sheet that will form the outer skin of the nose. Just like before, he covers the foam with tape to prevent breakage during bending. To make the foam easier to bend, Roy scores slight lines along the fold areas. These lines act as guides and help the foam bend smoothly. He then uses a hairdryer to soften the foam slightly while pressing it around a PVC pipe to form the curved shape. Finally, he attached this first skin piece to the formers. Using the same technique, Roy shapes another cylinder out of the foam sheet for the midsection of the nose. For the very tip of the nose cone, he uses a block of foam made by stacking about 18 foam sheets. He then carves this block into shape using a hobby knife and smooths out the surface with sandpaper. In terms of power, I decided to go with twin FMS 70mm EDF units, each of which generates 2900 grams of thrust. With a total plane weight of around 3 kilograms, this should provide more than enough power for exciting flights. The battery I'm using is a single 6S 5600 mAh LiPo battery, which should offer me a flight time of approximately 4 minutes. The CG of this plane is around this spot. Now it's time for the pre-flight check. We'll be making sure all the control surfaces and the swingway mechanism are functioning correctly. I've also implemented a setup that disables the ailerons when the wings are swept back into delta configuration. In that flight mode, all the control will be handled by the ailerons. Another safety measure I'm taking is using a flight stabilization system or a gyro. It's a good idea to give this a final check before takeoff. As with any maiden flight, it's customary to take photos of the plane before it takes to the skies. This serves as a documentation in case of a crash, but hopefully that won't be necessary. I hope. After all, this F-14 has never flown before, I swear. For those of you who follow my channel, you know I like to have my planes fully painted and decorated before the first flight. So, for this maiden flight, it's all or nothing, a successful flight or a crash. Here the plane is already painted. To ensure the paint adheres properly, you'll need to first apply a coat of plastic primer to the tape surfaces. I decided to go with the VF84 Jolly Rogers color sim, the one made famous in the movie The Final Countdown. The decal file for this sim is actually included with the downloadable plans, and it's formatted in A3 size. As usual, I'm using printed vinyl stickers for the decals. Let's get back to the construction process. Here's how Roy assembled the fuselage. He began to building the front section first, followed by the rear section. This section here is where the EDF units will be mounted. Now it's time to join the front and rear sections of the fuselage. There's a special technique here. Notice how he's only curving a specific portion of the part to create a smooth transition. Also, all the edges of these parts need to be sanded diagonally to ensure the proper fit when joining them. Now we're down to the final steps of the build. First up, Roy is smoothing out all the edges, especially along the seams where the fuselage sections are joined. Next, he continues covering all the exposed surfaces with packing tape for added protection. He's also paying attention to the underside of the fuselage when the air intakes are located. Finally, it's time to combine the nose section with the main fuselage. With the main structure complete, Roy moves to installing the stabilizers. These are the vertical and horizontal stabilizers at the tail of the plane. Is also installing the servo that will control the ailerons. Let's take a closer look at the canopy constructions. First, I create the canopy base using 3mm foam board. I cover the base with packing tape and then paint it black. The front part of the canopy will be glued permanently to the nose section, while the rear part will function as a removable hatch. Now for the cockpit details. I lay out all the cockpit instruments and even including tiny pilot figures. This is 3D printed. To create the canopy itself, I use 2 foam blocks as molds. The trick here is to melt mica plastic over a stove top and then carefully mold it around the blocks to form the canopy shape. The final touch is applying the canopy frame using painted paper masking tape. This adds a realistic touch to the overlook of the canopy. The landing gear for this F14 is fixed, but it's also detachable using screws. You can see here that I added grills made from 3mm plywood over the air intake box for cheat holes for the EDF units. This ensures they have sufficient airflow for optimal performance. For some extra detail, I also added pylons for missiles. These pylons aren't functional, but they definitely enhance the plane's realistic appearance. And check out these missiles. They are AIM-54 Phoenix, AIM-7 Sparrows, and AIM-9 Sidewinder, all crafted from paper. The canopy locking mechanism is very simple yet effective. It uses a small piece of mica plastic like this. It's 6:30 AM and I'm already loading the F14 into my car. There wasn't room for any other planes today. This just one for its maiden flight. I brought 2 batteries and plan to recharge them on the flying field a couple of times, aiming for about 4 flights in total. The flying field is about 20 kilometers from my house, but it's only half an hour drive with tolls. Alright, time for the maiden flight. My plan is to take off with the wings in the open position first.
Okay. Yui. Yui.
The takeoff wasn't the smoothest, but hey, it's flying. The handling is great, very stable too.
Aduh, belum.
After completing one circuit around the field, I began my descent for landing.
Nggak bisa nge-zoom om, terlalu jauh.
My friend Handy was there filming on the landing strip. The jet was drifting a bit to the left, so I moved back a bit.
Waduh.
You can see Handy looking a little panicked in this clip. It's kinda funny. Let me assure you though, the plane was okay in the end. For the next flight, I wanted to try sweeping the wings back in flight. However, doing a ground test, the right wing seemed to jam slightly.
Kagak sama ya, Om?
I managed to free it, but it became clear that the servo might not be strong enough to handle the wing sweep mechanism as intended. This made me hesitant to try transitioning the wings in mid-air. Still, I really wanted to see how the plane would fly with the wings swept back. So on the next flight, I decided to take off with the wings already swept back. To my surprise, it took off just fine. The handling in this configuration was also stable. Here's a compilation video showing some of the other flights from that day. I managed to get in total of 5 flights.
Apa langsung landingin aja kali?
Tahu tuh dari tadi kenapa begitu?
Overheat kayaknya.
Iya makanya. Tapi baru Lopez nggak berani, Om. Kurang bawah, Pak. Besok dipasang.
Dia naik terus ya?
Nah, lagi. Lopez. Wih, apa
Fokus lagi.
meneng
Kali. Ya, mantap.
Iya. Dapat. Nice. Mari naikin lagi, bocah bener-bener dah lu. Kelakuan emang.
Gara-gara tasain gua pasti. Full throttle. Iya, full throttle.
Ayo Army.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you find this video interesting. See you in the next video.